Hello and welcome to this episode of the Worship Band Builder Podcast, where we are working with you to lay the foundation for skillful worship. I'm Eric Roberts, and I'm joined by my co-host Emily Roberts.
Hello all.
Hello to you. Today I have a couple promos, some news, a list of gear that I want you guys to have, and then we're going to be talking about vocals. So before I do that, here's the thing. Right now, all the worship leaders in the country over the last couple months have heard themselves singing on the live stream, and they've been horrified, okay? So that's the kind of thing I see out there in the worship leader comments, like, oh my goodness, not everybody. I mean, if you're not that person, then you're just sitting there like, I got it, I nailed it. But there are a lot of you who are like listening back and like, oh my goodness. It's terrifying. As a vocalist, it's probably as terrifying or more terrifying even than when you're in recording, if you've ever recorded in the studio and the engineer's soul is your vocal line to listen.
Ooh,
so
that can be brutal.
That's brutal. This is even more brutal because you're actually doing this live and then you can't change it. And then everybody in the world, it's on Facebook. All your friends, all your high school buddies.
And it stays out there.
Yeah, it's out there. All your high school friends can listen to it. I mean... You know, I'm kind of used to it being a YouTuber for a while. You know, I'm on there doing stuff. I've kind of got over what people think about me, or if I mess up on YouTube, I'm like, But I can control YouTube. You cannot necessarily control your Facebook's live stream from your church, right?
I don't know.
You can decide on YouTube, do I want to upload this or do I want to, when you start doing live stuff, it's a lot different because you can't really...
Okay, there we go.
Also, you can't control much of what the guy's doing in the sound booth. So if he messes up your vocal or whatever, and a lot of you worship leaders don't pay attention a lot, maybe they don't know what's going on. They're just up there, I'm going to sing. Then they go home and listen, and they're like, crying in a fetal position for the next 2 hours every week. Okay?
Okay, but there are some things that you can do to avoid that sort of scenario.
Yeah, so and we're going to do that. So right now we're going to do the promo. First of all, donate to worshiptheking.com. You can become a partner monthly, yearly. You can also just share this video if you want to support the ministry here, and you can go on Amazon, buy a songbook. It's like $12, and then leave a 5-star review. That's a really great way for you to sow into the ministry financially, but also get something out of it, like get a songbook. On Amazon, and that just helps our rankings go up on Amazon, and Amazon sees that and they push it out there. And
so I do not write the songbooks, but I want to tell you what I love about the songbooks, since I didn't write them. I feel like I can say
this. You helped, but yeah.
Yeah, well, it's mostly you.
Okay, you're right.
So what I want to say about the songbooks is that the chords are right, and they are in the right places. And they have been simplified for easy but still good sounding playing.
Yeah,
I know there have got to be better words for that than what I just used.
Personally done, but over and over again. We go over and over them, over and over, and we have my assistant chord chart guys will go do them, and then I'll sit there and do them. We move the chord to the exact syllable in the word that you're going to strum on, and we put little chord slashes on there so you know how many rhythms down to do. Okay, so yeah, they're in the early days. I'm talking like 20 years ago, because we've been publishing songbooks now for almost 20 years. There might have been some errors in there, but we've always kind of prided our songbooks on these are easy and they're accurate. Because if you go on there and you type on Google and you get the free charts, some here and there, they can be a disaster. Chords are not even right, and then beginners are like, well, I don't know what's going on. I'm like, well, you're playing a totally wrong chord. So thank you for saying that. That's what we worked on. Now, there are a lot of resources in this modern day where publishers of the actual songs, the singers of the songs, are putting out their own chord charts. So it's getting better. But our songbooks are also good because you can throw them in your book bag, and if you show up and they say, you need to lead worship, you can just grab it and be like, no problem. I got 3 songs I can do.
Or the guitar case, maybe.
Or the guitar case, yeah.
Probably not your back pocket.
They're not pocket size.
No.
So that's good. So get a songbook. The big news is coming up, okay? Worship Leader Foundations is coming October, November. I'm going to be putting links out in the next week through email, so don't worry, you'll get them. October, November 2020 is going to be 9 weeks of live webinars, live sessions, exclusive webinars, podcast, all based on The idea that you are going to try to lead a successful, thriving worship ministry, even if you just got thrown the keys to the church and they said, you're the worship leader, these are serious things. These are things for real serious dudes and dudettes. Okay. And they're also things for like really beginners. Like, what do I do? If you follow these, that's what Foundations has always been about. If you follow these really foundational things, then you don't get into trouble, because and we're going to talk about this in the vocal session today. So check that out in the links, and just be aware, if you're not on our email list, join Worship the King free and you'll be on our list. And the last list today, we're going to be talking about vocals. I have a page now on the website, worshipbandbuilder.com/gear. It is links to all the gear that I'm talking about. So we're rolling through a lot of gear in these episodes lately, and I'm testing out a lot of gear, doing a lot of YouTube videos. All of it is linked on that page, and I'm updating it every week. So if I mention some new gear in an episode, it goes on that page. Links straight to Amazon. And yes, most of them are affiliate links. So if you want to support the channel, click on the link and buy the gear. If you're going to buy it anyway, buy it right through that affiliate link. Amazing. Here's the intro. You ready?
All right,
You
let's
read
do
the
it.
intro. I've been talking a lot.
The intro. Can I read this?
Yes,
I don't know. Where's the intro
well,
to this episode? Here we go. Everyone wants to sound amazing on the stage and now on the live stream. The audio we are creating right now every week can be awesome, or it can haunt you on the Facebook Live replay. It can really mess with your mind to hear yourself back on the live stream. If you follow some simple steps, you can improve the whole production and recording quality of your voice.
Very, very well written, I might, if I might say so.
Thank you. Performed.
And very well read. She did that just like I would have done. All right, this is supposed to be a short episode, so let's go right through it. Warm up every day.
Now, this is stuff that these first few are things that apply to not just sounding good on the live stream, but also sounding good in person. If you don't sound good in person, there's not much the sound person can do to fix that.
Yeah, this is better vocals on the live stream, better vocals overall, but you got to warm up every day. So she does this every day.
So important.
I'm not as good at it, but if I don't warm up, I feel terrible and I can't sing right. And there's this weird moment in my voice where I know it's not right. This is not going to be a good day. And if I go warm up, it's like I can it's like, when you start your car, if you live in the cold weather and it just doesn't sound right until it warms up, that's it. Warm up. Okay, if you need resources, check our website.
And especially because so many of the songs now are doing this jump the octave thing. You can't just throw your voice into that,
You hurt yourself and then you sound weird the whole day.
Well, and you have performed that and recorded it, and your congregation is hearing that.
Yeah, that's the real point. Everybody hears all this. So that's number one. Number two, we're going to go through these. Pick the key that you can easily sing in the morning.
Yes, because you're performing in the morning and your voice is not the same when you first wake up as it is mid-afternoon, let's say.
Tuesday night at rehearsal, you're nailing it. You're feeling great. 6:30 in the morning. It's a whole different world. I warm up at night, the night before. If I'm doing an early session in the morning, I warm up a lot the night before. That helps because your voice mine does. It stays warm throughout the night, sort of.
I have not tried that, but I'm taking your word on that one.
Yeah, if you're singing if you sing Saturday night and you really sing well and warm up, not like go to Saturday night and do like a big jam session where you're blowing your voice out. I'm talking about just warming up and singing Saturday. Sunday, your voice is like, oh yeah, I remember. I was partially warm anyway. So, but you have to pick keys for the songs that will be good for you. We already talked about some of this in other episodes. You don't have to sing the key of the actual record.
No.
In fact, I never do, and nobody
shouldn't if it's not the key that suits your voice.
Right. I'm a baritone. I am not going to sing a Chris Tomlin song in his key. So that brings me to pick the right songs for your vocal style. And we were talking about this the other day, like American Idol.
Song choice makes or breaks those contestants, and that's a good example of that.
You've seen it, you know, when even they're a good singer and they're singing a song, you're like, it's kind of stinky. And then they come back out the next week or the next night or even that same night and they blow it away and it's like, oh, that was right for them. It happens to us as worship leaders too. We were talking about this way back, Shout to the Lord. That was a great song, but I never liked leading it when I was younger. I just never felt like it was the right song for me. And so I didn't lead it a lot, even though it was like the most popular song of the, decade.
Even you can still have that song in your set list, but you have to delegate. Give that song to someone whose voice it does suit.
Right. So if you have like your backup singer, your co-worship leader, your wife, your husband.
For example,
I would just be like, you're singing Shout to the Lord. And she's like, cool. I don't know if that happened, but...
I don't know that we really did that one a lot, but...
Here's something that's a little... We're just going to throw this in here. If you are the worship leader, you have 3 other vocalists on your team, it would help you to know their vocal style and their vocal range so that you can help pick songs. When I'm leading worship...
and put them in their best light, too.
Yeah, when I'm leading worship, I text the girls that are singing with me that week or the guys, and I say, what is your key for Blessed Be Your Name? If they're singing it. I don't just pick a key and show up. And I wait for them to tell me, oh, I do that in D. Now, I'm just a volunteer fill-in worship leader, so I don't know everybody really well, and we're kind of new. So I just ask them. If you know, and if you're a staff worship leader or you're the main worship leader, I would just put up a thing and say, we're going to get together, you're going to write down your keys for these songs, that way your planning would be expedited. But in general, look, you just need to know. They need to know it's their choice too. It's their choice. I'm the worship leader, but it is her choice if she's going to lead it, what key it is in. And I know not everybody's like that, but that should be that's more for the worship leader foundations. We're going to get deep into these issues in that foundations. Pick a microphone. This is another one that works for your voice. Okay? Now, Emily's not a big audio microphone person. She would probably most of her life just show up and grab the mic that they hand her. But this is getting more serious, okay? This is live now on Facebook. This makes a difference, and we worked with our worship leader for a couple months before I found the mic. I'm like, this is the mic. I pulled it out. It was always good for me. So I didn't think it would be great for him because he's a tenor, but we used it and was like, dude, that's awesome. And it just felt right. Now he's got a different mic. He's got now the Shure Sm7b. I saw on the live stream last week. That's a great mic. So I'm going to go through a couple of these mics. First of all,
I want to say, first of all, that while I don't know a lot about gear, I do know when I sound good through a microphone.
Yeah, that's what I was going to put in. I put this in here. Yeah, work on it until you feel like you sound awesome. If you feel like you sound awesome, like, okay, so you don't know about mics, but there have been times you've been on stage where you're like, this just does not sound great. Like, this mic is crap, basically.
Yes, for me.
To be blunt.
And we have learned that different mics work better on different voices. So
that is for sure the case. So when we travel or we sing, I take my own mic. I'm like the snobby little mic guy. Like, here, use this one. And it's weird because not a lot of people do that, but when you know this mic sounds good on you, you just take it and you're like, I'm going to sing.
When you hear the difference between microphones, you will understand that is worth the extra time to, pack your own mic and bring it.
Plus, it's extremely gross to sing into a microphone.
It is, a little yucky.
In my younger days, I don't think I ever paid any attention to that. Now, I am like super grossed out. If you're like, here, lead worship, here's the mic, and they just take it from the pastor and give it to you. I'm all over that mic,
Yeah,
I'm like,
so like brushing your teeth with somebody else's toothbrush.
Yeah, so I'll go through. I don't do that.
Okay,
either.
It may not be that bad.
It's bad, especially when they stink and stuff. You're supposed to wash those mics out, by the way. You can take the things out. Whenever I lead worship at our church now, I take my own mic and I take it away. I don't want people touching it. It's just the way I am. You can be that way. I give you permission. So Shure Sm7b is the really popular microphone. It's a podcaster microphone, but now if you watch any YouTube video of any of these big worship videos, everybody's using them. So they're kind of, in my opinion, they're kind of like the popular thing. They do work very well. They are $400. Okay, that's quite a bit. Now, we use in our podcast the Shure Sm57, which is a guitar microphone. It is $99, and you can put a pop screen on it, and it becomes an SM7B, basically. They sound the same, okay, for $100. So the SM57 is not a vocal mic. The vocal mic of all vocal mics, okay, if you're just like, this is kind of like a lot of numbers and letters, and I'm not sure what the heck he's talking about. Shure SM58 is the vocal mic of all vocal mics. You know, you probably can't go wrong with that one. And Maddie has a Shure SM58 beta. It's like a little nicer. It's about
She's an alto. She sings
alto.
at our church. If you are involved with our Bible study, you saw her a couple of weeks ago, and you heard her lovely voice singing with us.
So I asked one of the guys when we were trying to fix Robbie's mic months ago in the live stream, like, what mic should we use? And I'm pulling different mics out of my arsenal of mics, and you know, we found one, but he said, just 58, dude. That's the one. That's going to be the one. And he's right. If you use a 58 on pretty much anybody, you know, Jim Gaffigan, all the comedians I've been watching recently, I've noticed they have 58s. They're just using 58. So it's very, very good, but not necessarily the best mic for everybody. I go a little bit, mine's the Heil P35. So all these are on the list, okay?
But Eric is a baritone. Robbie is a tenor. So I guess we could say that the 58 is the best general purpose microphone. If you just have to buy microphones and put them on the stage and hope that they work for everyone,
and they're going to work really good.
That would be the one to choose.
The Shure SM58, they're $100 a piece. They're going to work extremely well, okay?
And that's affordable.
And it's very affordable. But then for you, since you're the worship leader and most likely a diva, you're going to go a little further.
You're singing, leading every week.
I'm just teasing you guys. You're going to go a little further and maybe start experimenting with your mic. So you might have a different mic. And that's just your own personal preference. And I think you should just mess with it until you find one that you love. And then it's really important for the live stream.
But all the ones you're recommending are on your list.
Yep. And then the using a pop filter. So this is probably the worst part about when we started our live stream 5 months ago. The mics we were using were not great mics. They were just okay, and the pop filters on them were worse. They just a lot of every time they did a P, it was like puffing through the live stream. So that's the most annoying.
The pop was not being filtered.
The pop was not filtered, and it was annoying. So I that was when I went to them and said, let's try this. I got these goofy little pop filters for when we weren't live, when we were just doing live feeds. We weren't doing people, and they were like little
people?
Well, you know, when people weren't in the audience, there was a time during the shutdown when it was just like a studio. We were recording our music in the...
You're talking about a church.
Yeah, I'm talking about a church.
I thought we were still talking about the podcast. You are talking about our...
yeah, geez, I hope they weren't that confused too. So when we were setting up our services early in the lockdown, we were doing live streaming for the first time. The microphones were real poppy. So I got some like real studio microphone pop filters, and they worked, but they looked goofy. They wouldn't work for like when you have an audience out there. They just were right in front of their face and stuff. But you can use...
Bulbous.
Yeah, they were bulbous. It's a good word to use in a podcast. So this is... I'm not going to show you any today. I have a bunch of videos on YouTube where I show you all the mics and the pop filters. Check them out. But you can just use any kind of pop filter over the mic. And some mics, like the SM7b, have a big old pop filter on them. But they look cool. They're the coolest you can look with a big old giant pop filter. Okay. Last, I'm going to do one more thing. So you get a mic that sounds good on your voice. You make sure it's got good pop filter, or it's not getting what they call plosives, not getting all those P's like popping through.
B's, T's.
B's and T's, T's. Everything just sounds real puffy. You know what that. So then we're going to talk about effects. Use effects. EQ, compression, and reverb are your three big ones. Okay, so just and you're maybe not necessarily going to do this yourself, but you're going to make sure that you have a nice EQ, because when you sing in a mic and you sound muffly, it's because there's not enough high end, there's too much low end. It's muffly. You know, it's like you can just basically be like, that's muffly. It sounds muffly, I sound muddy. And when you do that, then it's bad. All you got to do is EQ it. So that's first, EQ. Compression is good. It's a little more advanced, but it will even out your voice. On the live stream, it's very important. And then reverb is extreme. On the live stream is the only thing. If you had to pick one, just pick, even if you have a junky mic, put a bunch of reverb on it, because then you sound like you're in a big room and it sounds good. So if you listen to a live stream mix and you are listening to it and it sounds really dry and just like terrible, it's most likely that you have a dry mix, which means there's no verb on it. Okay, so use verb, use a room mic, and if this stuff is something you're really interested in, if you're listening to this podcast and you're thinking, yeah, I want to do this, you can join Audio Foundations. I teach everything about this: EQ, compression, reverb, room mics, mixing, editing, doing your live stream mix. I'm showing you what we're doing on our mix. I'm going back through weeks where we've mixed, and I'm critiquing our mixes, my own mixes that I was doing on live stream. I'm critiquing them for you and showing you how it's getting better every week. And that is it. Spend time on your vocal sound. Spend time on the whole picture until you sound awesome. Now that sounds weird, but...
Well, until you sound your best.
Until you sound awesome and feel comfortable. If every week you're listening and like, it's a little muffly. Okay, let's EQ it. You listen to it again, you're like, I sound like it's really raw and dry. It doesn't sounds dead. Doesn't have any life. Get some reverb in there, change mics. If you hear a bunch of poppy noises, change the mic or put a pop filter on it. These are things that are going to take time. And unfortunately, since we went into COVID and lockdown and everybody started live streaming with almost no experience, these things will work themselves out over the course of several months or several weeks, however obsessed you are. But no matter what, it takes time to keep running that live stream and keep listening back and going, oh my goodness, I need to warm up. Oh my goodness, that song sounds terrible. Why did I sing that song in that key? Why was I singing so high that week? Adjust until you feel comfortable.
So listen critically and constantly make changes. Adjust according to what you're hearing.
Absolutely. Adjust, change, listen. If you're not listening to your live stream, then shame on you. You have to be listening. Go back and listen to your live stream. It's your performance which you made everybody in your congregation listen to. So I feel like you should be listening to it too and going, yeah, that sounds kind of weird. What's wrong with that? That's critical listening, and be your biggest critic, because you don't want them going, well, this guy doesn't know how to do anything. He doesn't sound good. Or what's wrong with the live stream? It doesn't work. Or they sound funny. I mean, this is the best moment in history for the church, because in terms of getting better audio-wise, because you have to record yourself and put it out there every week.
We've been forced into a position of...
Yeah, and I know it hurts. I know it's hard, but it's got to be a challenge for you to get a hold of. You can get there, is what I'm saying. You can get there. It might take you a couple more weeks, but every single week you get a little better. And having us here, Emily, myself, Worship Band Builder, all the YouTube videos, having YouTube. I mean, when I was a kid, when I was young, we didn't have YouTube. We didn't have this stuff like to just go on there and how do you EQ a mic? I mean, what's the best vocal mic for vocals? You type in some stuff and stay up all night and just watch YouTube videos.
That's some good advice.
Yeah,
right?
every morning you wake up and you're a little bit smarter and you're a little bit closer to the excellence that you're trying to get to. And I would like to just make sure I invite you to join me in October, November for Worship Leader Foundations. It's not going to be all this techie stuff, but it's going to be a lot of really great stuff for you to really grow. And also, you can also join Worship the King, Worship Band Builder Foundations for Audio right now. And it can get you a little bit closer down the road. Any last words, Emily?
I think that covers it for today.
Yeah, that is it for today. We will see you on the next episode.